The Lakers hit a home run hiring JJ Redick. Is this an overreaction?
No, it doesn't feel like an overreaction after 2 games. Watching them play, you see a lot of great ball movement, a lot of great set play calls in ATOs. Defensively, even though they had a shitty first quarter, as the game progressed, you see how connected they are on defense, how patient they are in terms of like moving the ball and getting everybody in the right spots. It looks like a completely different team, but it's the same team from last year plus Bronny and Dalton Connect, right?
I think Bronny brings that energy, that camaraderie.
You see it. You see it. You see it.
I see
That's
it.
why.
I can't deny it.
That's
Can't
why
deny
you
it.
make that. That's why you make that. You make that draft pick at 55. You get it. You get
They
it.
knew what they were doing. They knew what
They
they were doing.
They knew what they're doing. I'll say this: when the JJ hire was announced, the one concern I always had in my head is and I'm speaking from experience. I'm a Nets fan, so I've experienced the quick hire of the former player to coach, and we had it with Jason Kidd, had it with Steve Nash.
Yeah,
it takes a while for that coach to be labeled a coach instead of just the former player. Steve Nash never got. If you guys can go back and look it up. It felt like there was never a time somebody was like Coach Nash. It was always Steve Nash. And
interesting.
Jason Kidd never got to the point where when he was a Nets, it wasn't Coach Kidd until he progressed through the Bucks and the Mavs as he is now. You hear he's more like being called and pronounced as a coach. It's like, yo, Coach Kidd.
JJ Redick. That, like, no one calls Coach Billups. They call him Chauncey Billups or Chauncey. Not even Billups. Chauncey.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and we're gonna talk about that later.
We'll talk about Chauncey later.
Exactly. So you realize that there's when a former player becomes a coach, there's a progression of when they finally get that respect as they're the actual coach instead of like they're just a figurehead or like what they used to call Nash. He's just mediating personalities. He's not really
babysitter.
Coaching. Yeah, he's a babysitter.
But that was the pretenses in which he was hired, right? They were like, KD doesn't want to coach, Kyrie doesn't want to coach. We're gonna bring in Nash so we could do whatever the hell we want.
That's it's
a different situation.
But look crazy. So I mean, with JJ after 2 games, you see all the praise and people are heaping on the praise because they see how well the Lakers are looking. You see the focus they've had on making sure the offense basically runs through AD, which has been a whole big thing where after AD was traded to the Lakers, LeBron stated like, hey, this is going to be AD's team. It's going to be AD's team. And it never seemed to happen. Now it feels like it's happening. In 2 games, he looks like the MVP of the league. The Lakers are winning games that they would have lost last year. They would have lost both those games last year. I'm not.
Yeah.
And that's
they would have packed it in.
Yeah, they packed it in.
The Suns.
Exactly. Or they would have made that fake comeback when it's like, oh man, you're right back in it.
Yeah, that's more the fake comeback. You're right.
The fake comeback. You know what I mean? And we all see the memes. Everybody talking about how Darvin Ham would have his hands in pockets, and like they put out the video of him during the timeout when he was like, "Yeah, we're doing it out here, yo, salute." And they're comparing to what JJ was doing. So it looks right now. It looks like it was a great hire just because of what JJ is doing. Eventually, he's going to be called Coach Redick. If this keeps progressing that way, people will start saying Coach JJ or Coach Redick. It won't just be
it's a graduation.
JJ.
Like he graduates.
Exactly. Who graduates? Yeah. It's just going to be JJ Redick. So that's what I see. So right now, I don't think that's an overreaction. It feels like it was a great hire. How do you feel about it?
So home run's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Home runs like what Freddie Freeman did to my Yankees last night. But to me, it's more like I'd say it's a slight overreaction because I do think it's a good hire. I'm very impressed with the sets that they were running. There's a lot of motion, a lot of back screens, a lot of cutting to the rim. I mean, everyone's getting involved. He's purposely running plays for Dalton Connect, which is dope because this is a rookie. And rookies are just told, like, stand in the corner, and when the ball comes to you, you shoot.
Yeah.
So, JJ's trust in everybody on the team. Even he might play for Jackson Hayes out of the timeout. Like, I mean, it was at the rim. It was a lob, but it's just, to me, JJ's always been smart. You could tell by the way he talks the game. And mostly every basketball player who gets this position to be a head coach is smart, right? There's Jason Kidd, Chauncey Billups. I mean, you say what you want about them personally, but from a basketball standpoint, like, they're 2 of the greatest point guards to play the game. And that's why they were hired. Same with Steve Nash. They're smart. They have the ability to do it. But JJ seems to be an effective communicator, and he seems to be a nerd, right?
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I think separates JJ, from a Nash, from a Chauncey, from a Kid, is that JJ not only lives and breathes the game, he's a nerd. Like, he looks at sets, even though his podcast, sets, how many times these teams run sets, what were the results when they run sets. So, like, he lives and breathes this stuff. And so I think it's just a natural position for him. I do think it's a little bit of a overreaction because it's been 2 games. So for me, I'm saying right now, JJ hit it into the gap, and he's rounding second. And it might be a home run. It might be an inside the park home run. But we don't know yet because we don't know how long it's going to take for the outfielder to get that baseball right now. And JJ might get thrown out at third or at the plate. We have no idea.
True.
So to me, very promising. I think it's very promising. If I'm a Laker fan, I'm very happy with the hire. They played tonight against the Kings on a back-to-back. I rarely, and for those who don't listen to this podcast, if you're just tuning in, I rarely judge teams on back-to-backs, especially bad nights, because back-to-backs in the NBA are just like, I never expect.
Tell him, Joel Embiid. Tell him.
Yeah.
Tell him.
Exactly. That point proven, right? Yeah. A lot of players are resting. A lot of players who don't get big minutes sometimes get big minutes. Just back-to-backs to me just aren't. It's unfortunate because like you want it to be the same, but it's not. It's not the same for anybody. So regardless of what happens tonight, my opinion on the Lakers aren't changed. I'm impressed, man. And I think, there's a larger conversation to have here about how good they are. Yeah. I'm sure we'll have that in our power rankings in a few days, but.